I think social media is part of a wider domain of big data and analytics. It's a very exciting field. There's lots of great work in that domain at the moment, some really clever people working on these problems and some great new solutions in the market. It's also very confusing. I think there's a lot of hubris and a lot of solutions being put out there which seem to have a lot of potential but leave users frustrated. I think a lot of the solutions don't necessarily answer the questions that risk and security professionals are really trying to answer when it comes to strategic decision making. One of the things that we found is that there are so many solutions in the market that people are trying to understand, what is a valid answer? What is a good solution? How can you understand whether sentiment, influence, network analysis is actually pertinent to the question that you're trying to answer? One of the real challenges, I think, with social media is that it's not just about one platform. While Twitter and Facebook are clearly very important, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different social media sites that people are using. If you're trying to understand social unrest in the Middle East or China, it's very likely that the platforms you need to look at are going to be very different. And what's really crucial is understanding the context of how groups are using social media and placing it within a wider understanding of risks on the ground in those areas. I think many of the first generation approaches to social media monitoring were very reliant on throwing in a few keywords to a monitoring tool and figuring out what some of the basic trends were. We're really trying to move away from that concept. If you're trying to understand how a country may move from ostensibly political stability to revolution, simply monitoring social media for known keywords isn't really going to give you any predictive value. So we've been working on establishing the boundaries of what social media can and can't tell you. I think it's still early days and we're still very much mapping out what is valid. But some of the areas that we've been very successful in exploring is using social media for enhanced situational awareness of complex, rapidly moving situations on the ground around the world, early warning of emergent risk situations, identifying the composition of leaderless, dynamic protest movements, measuring the influence of key users and individuals within a wider social network, who's important, who should we be monitoring, and also looking at sentiment for particular influences over time. One of the key things that we're trying to do is actually bring these different techniques together. That's where you start to add a lot of value, identifying who's tweeting most prevalently on a topic in a particular city or region, identifying the influencers within that group, and then tracking their sentiment and who is really negative or positive on a particular issue. The best intelligence systems combine subject matter expertise, so the country experts who really know what's going on the ground, with technical expertise, so that's data and network science. We find that the best systems have a really symbiotic relationship between these two domains. So a very iterative relationship between the country experts who are asking the right questions, who know the lexicon of groups on the ground in local languages, and then the data scientists tweaking the results and improving them over time. So we think any system has to have both of these domains. It's actually really difficult to get right in practice. Something that's really important as well is how social media only ever answers part of the puzzle. And I think any system also has to take into account that Twitter or Facebook or any other social media platform is only going to give you a relevant signal some of the time. So it's always going to have to be combined with local knowledge, expertise, and other data sources, including from human sources on the ground.